All right, this is Spanish Med with another video today. I hope this is a much shorter one compared to the other ones. If this format ends up being more useful, I think I'm going to pick this one instead. So today we have pain, a very simple question that comes up in the hospital, triage mainly. We need to look at constant versus intermittent. I know this is the first one, and we're not gonna get into the details of what type of pain it is, but this is, I feel like, where a lot of mistakes originate. So let's dive into it. So, usually in triage, when they, and this goes for both, providers and interpreters, when they say and they want to learn if this pain that's been bothering the patient, apart from being chronic or acute, is it constant or intermittent? We tend to use phraseology that I've come across as being quite confusing based on personal experiences that I've had as an interpreter. And I've also seen providers use the same phraseology, and the patient ends up being confused and not fully understands what's being asked. So, during the triage process, the patient is asked this question. It's usually one of the first questions if they say that they have some type of pain wherever it is in the body. And the Spanish interpretation tends to be a bit confusing. So let's go into it. So usually when they say, is your pain constant or intermittent, they try to make the question a bit easier to understand, which basically they're asking if the pain is constant or does it come and go. And a lot of the times when interpreters or providers say it in Spanish, they say this question, which, as you can see, I've already crossed out. They ask, ¿Su dolor es constante o va y viene? So, which they want to ask, is it constant or does it come and go? But that question doesn't really make much sense, and it's actually not uncommon to hear answers such as, "Oh, it is constant, but it also comes and goes." Well, that's contradicting. So, is it constant or does it come and go? I think a better question to ask, is the bottom one that you can see. Su dolor es constante o se le quita y regresa. Pretty much saying, is your pain constant or does it disappear and then comes back? And that word quita, meaning goes away, it's very common. It's very common for the Hispanic community to say, "Oh, ya se me quitó el dolor," meaning, "Oh, the pain disappeared, the pain went away." So if you throw that keyword that they understand, that they're more familiar with, you're more likely to get better answers from the get-go, as opposed to if you say va y viene, which to them can also mean, it increases, it goes up and down in intensity. So let's get into it. Let's break it down. So here, as you can say, constant, I drew this constant circle that goes up, meaning that the pain is always there, and it's a constant, non-ending circle, always there. You can ask, ¿Su dolor es constante? Or if you want to simplify it even more, you can say, tu dolor or su dolor siempre está ahí, meaning it's always there. You can ask it that way. And in the middle one, as I put this dotted circle, it disappears and comes. So, su dolor se le quita y regresa, meaning it disappears, it goes away, and then comes back. That's pretty much a bit more clear than va y viene, which like I said before, it can be taken as it goes up and down in intensity. So if they answer the question, "Oh, yeah, it's constant or it's always there," well, then you can dive into the third part of the conversation, the third segment of the question. Now, is it like always at the same level or does it go up and down? That's pretty much the next question that comes up when they ask if the pain is constant. And in Spanish, you can say, "Siempre es al mismo nivel o sube y baja el dolor," meaning, is it always at the same level when talking about your pain, or does it go up and down, meaning in intensity? I find this method, better to better get answers from the get-go, as opposed to just ask, su dolor es constante o va y viene? Because sometimes you would just get blank stares and they just give you an answer. They're not really understanding what's being asked. Like I said, it's not uncommon to hear, oh, it's constant and it comes and goes. Well, that's contradicting. You can't really have both. Um, you know, so I find this question, the one that's underlined, su dolor es constante o se le quita y regresa. You want to simplify a little bit more? You can also do that. Su dolor siempre está ahí o se le quita y regresa. Is your pain always there, or does it disappear and comes back? And now the third slide here, of course, you want to get a concrete answer as to whether it is actually constant or perceived as constant. And we usually like to, in the hospital that I work with, whenever I ask this question, I like to use, hand motions. If I want to ask whether it's constant or intermittent, I use my hand. I make a fist on my left hand and I give them options. Is it always there? Is it constant? And I keep the fist. And I use my other hand to go to the front and to the back. I say, or se le quita y viene. Does it disappear and comes back? So with my left, I make a fist saying, is it always there? And the other hand, I say, or does it disappear and come back? That way, you're giving them a visual, and they're, more likely to make the correct choice. Oh, yeah, it's always there. They always point to the fist. Oh no, it comes and goes. It disappears and comes back, and they point to the hand that I'm moving. And if you want to go into a little bit deeper, if you want to ask, okay, you already got that it's constant, now you want to know if it's at the same level or does it vary in intensity, then you can keep your left hand palm up and say, is it at the same level? And with the other hand, you can say, or does it go up and down, and also move it up and down? And that way they can visualize it and be like, oh, you know what? No, it's always at the same level, because whether I'm sitting down or I'm laying down or I'm moving, always the same level. Or does it go up and down? Then now you can go, okay, well, does it go up and down, suddenly or with activity? And then you can keep on. But now you got concrete answers, and I find that this technique saves a lot of time in the long run, even if it's a few seconds. If you multiply it by X amount of patients, that's a lot of time. I hope you like this presentation better than my horrible handwriting, and we'll see you next week with another video.